Being a single mom and doing it all by yourself is brutal. Learn the brain and energy tools to get back to your center and overcome your challenges. As you know, stress is a very damaging force in our life, and it can not only damage your body and your health, but it can also damage your relationships, your money, your professional life, and all across the board. Today, my guest will help us lower your stress level. But before I introduce her, I want to let you know about, I promised you in my message, if you are being reminded when I go live, I promised you that I would tell you how I got trapped. So how did I get trapped? If you're following me for some time now, you know that I love binging on Netflix. And last weekend, I thought I was watching a movie, and what was not my surprise when I realized that it was a series. So again, I'm hooked on a series, and I think it's called Tales of the City. It takes place in San Francisco. I really like it, but I got trapped without knowing. I want to thank you also, because today I was notified that I had the honor to be part of the top 10 podcasts for single moms on, I think it's called FeedSpot. I don't know that website, but I'm super excited about it. And it's all because of you, because you, my listeners, have made it happen together with me. Now I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Kristin A Carbone. So I forgot to confirm with her if we say Carbone or Carbone. So stay tuned. We are going to ask her. She's a busy mom balancing it all. She's raising her teen daughter and caring for her mom while leading a successful business from home. And her passion is sharing organic living and self-care tips with other conscious busy moms like her. So welcome, Kristin. I hope I didn't butcher your name.
No, it's funny. People do sometimes, I think more European people want to add the accent to the end of it. It is actually just Carbone.
Carbone.
Yep. It's
Okay.
much easier than my maiden name. So,
okay.
So that's why the A is in there.
But is it Italian of origin or not? Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. So I just did it the wrong Italian way. Italian or European way. Welcome. I'm happy you're with us tonight. And I'm happy that you're going to talk about a subject that is so important, especially for busy moms. And some of my audience are single moms. So it's really, really something that we need to talk about. Before you give us tips, I would like to know who you are. I know who you are, but our audience doesn't know. So could you share with us what you do, how you got to doing what you're doing today, and all your story?
Yes, thank you. So yes, we do know each other. We have a little bit of history, and I love that about us is that we have that brain training connection and that energy piece that is wonderful. So my story is, I refer to myself as, busy mom. Like you said, I'm raising a daughter and my mother lives with me. I have a husband, he's self-employed. So he's an entrepreneur. I'm a busy entrepreneur. So yes, and I was, doing direct sales, and that was kind of my niche. I think a lot of stay-home moms like to get into that business. It's just easy. It's a great opportunity, and it fit for a while. And then I was feeling really stuck when my dad passed away and my mom moved in. My life changed, and so I was just living this constant life of running around and taking care of this person and taking care of that person. And and just stuck in my business and just, stuck and very stressed. I was feeling it in my body. And then I just received this message and followed that inspired nudge and worked with a soul coach last year. And it was amazing. And she really helped me see that I needed to take care of myself, that I needed to learn self-care. And after, all these years, that was very new to me.
Yes.
Right? All of us mothers, your audience especially, are constantly looking at taking care of everyone else, taking care of the home, and making sure that everybody's, safe.
Yeah.
And, it can be very daunting and stressful for us. And she just really inspired me to, get connected with who I am. What does my soul really want? And that's where I came up with my brand is my organic soul. Following my soul and my purpose, and understanding that I am a leader, and the business that I was in just wasn't filling that need anymore. And I partnered with a different company now that is fulfilling my passions for sharing with other people about wellness, organic lifestyle, having a freedom lifestyle, because I don't have to do those quotas of making sure I'm making a sales quota, or doing those parties and follow-up calls, right? I mean, it was just this, you mean all I need to do is share what I love, which is organic living and organic products, and just buy them once a month for myself and tell other people and ask other people to partner and join me along this journey. That's easy. So that's where I am. And I get to focus on things like sharing this story and letting other women know that there are other ways in our life to reduce the stress.
Yes. And it's funny because very often we think that we're trapped in our situation. And we think that I know I hear that a lot with coaches and coaches who coach coaches, not our coach, who I really adore, and I can rave about her all day long. Her name is Dana Wild, but other coaches where they tell you that you have to make the big jump and that you have to close all the doors if you want to succeed. And that can be so scary. And instead of, like you did, making a choice to do something that comes from your heart and your soul. So of course, it's going to nurture who you are and it's going to alleviate your stress. The main message is quite the opposite. So that's very refreshing when you hear someone who says that they don't have to reach quotas and do parties, because I've done that too when my kids were younger, and this is extremely stressful. And also unauthentic because you feel pushed. So it doesn't really come from your soul. So I know that this is one of the choices that you made that probably had the most impact on your stress in your life, you would say?
Absolutely. It was really helpful. And Asante Organics is the company I partner with, and the products themselves then was that next piece, that piece of, okay, now my health, now I can take care of my health. And, that was something that was very important to me as well.
Because without our health, we can't do anything, not taking care of anyone and not do business or make money.
Right.
So, and since we're talking about stress, I know you share information on your Facebook page with your audience about living organically and lowering the stress. But do you also share information about the negative impact of stress?
Yes, definitely. We want to make people aware of the fact that, you can do all these great things, but the person that's in that pain of, like you talked about, when we're in a stressful situation, our relationships don't work.
Yeah.
And you and I are both in that situation. We have teenagers, and they're that constant push and pull, and they're spreading their wings, and their brain is shifting and developing that part of their brain where they need to be independent. But then we resist, right? We're like, wait a minute.
This is definitely an adaptation.
Yes. So yes, I do like to share the fact that yeah, that's great. I could tell you that meditation is very important for your mental health, and meditation is a quick, inexpensive way to really get de-stressed.
Yes.
But it's important to understand where that stress is coming from.
Yes.
Mm.
And if you meditate, because I used to give classes on meditation, and what I found was that it's so funny. My clients were stressing about the fact that they didn't meditate correctly.
Right.
So if that's what you do, you're defying the purpose, because then you're creating more stress in your life.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I know that the correlation between stress and gut is really huge, because when we stress, it falls sometimes on our digestive system.
It actually does. Absolutely, Murielle. Go ahead.
And I know that you talk about the correlation between the gut and the brain, which
Absolutely.
will have so many negative impacts. So could you talk a little bit to the audience about that? Because I don't know if everybody is aware of that.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that interests me, and that I've learned in this organic lifestyle that I'm, following. And that is, they used to think that it was the brain, if you were in you had moodiness or anxiety or stress, that it was the brain stuff that was affecting how your gut was feeling and how your digestive system was working. But there's been this shift in what doctors are realizing, is that it really is the gut that's affecting the brain, to the point of not only moodiness, but even that brain fog that you
Yes.
feel. And so if we can clean up the gut, then, the neurotransmitters and the vagus nerve, I think is what it's also that connects that
Yeah.
brain and gut. I don't know all the technical stuff. I'm not a doctor, but it's just something that interests me. And so, if we have healthy bacteria in the gut, there's that better flow that's happening.
And I know that with teenagers, it's not always evident for them to make the right food choice. You can teach them, but then they get to an age, like you were saying, and like I'm experiencing in my life, where your control is very minimal, if any, and you just are left to be a guiding force.
Mm-hmm.
So where in your life, I know you have a daughter who's a teen, what solutions did you find to still keep her eating healthy, even if she wants to sometime eat other stuff?
Well, for us, our story with her was that she had a terrible dairy intolerance. We did not realize that that's what it was. But, one day she got this rash around her face, and it just got progressively worse. It would itch her a little bit, but it looked worse than how it felt. She looked like she had this mask. And so took her to traditional medicine, and gave me steroids and said,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what it is, right? And so then I followed an alternative route and had her tested, and we realized that she was eating too much dairy. She was having an intolerance to it. And so for us, at a young age, she was probably in 4th grade, so at that point, she had to learn. And it was very difficult at that young age. And it's interesting because I think, like you're saying, it happens again as they're teenagers, right? Because they want to flex that independent muscle.
Yeah.
And so it is a constant balance of, you need to make a healthy choice. And for me, it just came down to trusting that she knew what was right for her.
Yeah.
And I know that's really hard because I think a lot of parents they want the answer. They want the, well, what's the, because that was always me. Well, what's the formula?
Yes.
What are the steps I need to do? Like you were saying, what are the steps that, to get them to eat healthy? Well, you know what? I just have to offer them healthy choices
Yeah.
and be a role model for them in my own life, and then trust that they will make those healthy choices. And when she doesn't feel well, when she gets a stomach ache or the rash starts to show up on the back of her leg, I kind of am like, well, maybe you maybe made some poor choices. And we can't, get on them about that either, right? We have that balance, that constant teeter-totter balancing of what to say and what not to say.
But it's, in life, we learn from our consequences, and we need to leave room for our kids to do the same.
Beautiful.
And that's how they learn. That's how we've learned. I know my parents may have told me a million things, but first of all, I left when I was 18 and I went to a completely different country because I left for Israel. So if my kids had done that, now I know what I did to my mother. I realize, because my daughter was in college and it was only like an hour away in airplane, and I was already like, oh my God. But that's how we learn. And when you're talking about food, what people don't realize is that when they don't eat the majority of the time healthy, because I don't believe in black and white. I'm French. I eat in moderation, except if you're really allergic to something. It actually stresses our gut, our intestines, and it accumulates. Every little drop of food that is manufactured, food that is not good for us, will accumulate to a point where you have to stop. And when we're talking about stress, I know that there are ways for single moms, because single moms are busy. They don't always have the means or the time to go and do a retreat somewhere to what I call distressify. But there are other ways that they can do at home. And I know that you have stuff even that you carry as products, but more about the habit. What do you do in your life to lower your level of stress?
So my habit is I am part of a beautiful community that focuses on self-care. And that's the other piece about how I operate, my business is it is about community, because we can't do this alone anymore.
Yeah.
And I just feel that that's beautiful. So for me, it is self-care. And that's the other thing I love to share with my community is just different things that I've learned that have helped me on this path of self-care. We talked about meditation, moving your body, breathing, taking, a few minutes a day, constantly throughout the day. Someone in my group shared that this tip of, if every time you're driving and you're at a stop sign or at a stoplight, that's your cue to take 3 deep breaths in and release, release slowly for 8 breaths. If you can do that, every time you're at a traffic light or a stop sign, it not only is helping you center yourself, it actually is alkalizing your body,
Yeah.
because you're bringing more oxygen into your blood system and it's helping flush the toxins out. So I like to share that with people as well.
Because it's very simple and durable. And plus, the beauty of it is that the brain, it works with associations. So soon enough, let's say you put a post-it for the first 2 weeks, and then you're going to get used to it and you're going to do it on autopilot.
Absolutely. And when you associate it, like we know, you associate it to something, a habit you're already doing. So
Yes.
for me, the gut health piece is, I supplement. I use a food enzyme and I use a probiotic, and that helps me with my gut. And I put it with my morning I drink hot water with lemon in the morning.
Yeah.
Helps your system and helps detox. So there's a lot of little tips like that that I like to share that I do in my own life. And this is information that I've gathered from others that have had their own experiences.
And it's very often the case that people have heard it over and over and over, so they just discard it.
Mhm.
And that's really a pity, because those simple remedies and those simple habits can change your life. For example, on both levels, you were talking about detoxifying your body and oxygenating the brain. There is the self-worth level. When you take the time to take a few breaths for you, you send a message to yourself and to life that you are important. When you light a candle, I know you sell candles with your company.
I actually don't, but
Oh, you don't?
do essential oils.
Oh, essential oil. So when you put a diffuser, I have a lot of diffusers at home. And you smell, I don't know, I'm in love with the wild orange essential oil. I don't know why, but it relaxes me.
Mhm.
Stuff like that will lower your stress level without even realizing, and will send yourself, to your subconscious mind, a message that you are important, and that self-care and little details like that are, you deserve it. So it's not only on a stress level, it impacts all over the board.
Absolutely. And that's what's so lovely about when you do this in a community, with a community, just like you have your community of your single
Yeah.
moms, you feel more supported and you can share more information, and it's easier to implement those steps. Like you said, sometimes we discard them, but if
Yeah.
you're immersed in a community, it's not so easy to just say, oh yeah, right, I should do that, but I'm not going to. You've got that constant encouragement of taking care of yourself. And I love what you said about, you just, you're saying yes to yourself.
Yes.
And it's just so beautiful, because any mother and any woman who is even caring for anyone, we don't do it often enough.
And it's important because we are models for our kids. If
Mm,
we don't give ourselves permission to do that, they won't either. And how sad is that?
absolutely.
I know that you are talking about community. I know I follow your live sessions with, you're reading the book from Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah, I believe so. I always get it. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's true that even if you miss
Iris.
a session, because I miss sometimes, you go back to it, or even let's say I skip one, just knowing that you are going to do that, like you said, I'm more inclined to take that time and listen to it and really connect with the beauty of life, the magic of life, with gratitude and all the power of it. So habits like that, you don't have to change your life radically. Do you say radically or radically? I think I always butcher that word, but anyway, completely. In order to lower your level of stress, it's little by little that you do that. And so for you, how do you manage? Because I know you take care of your mom and you take care of your daughter. Where do you find the time for your business? Is it around all that, or you have specific time that you set, like unflexible time every day?
That's a great question. And that is, one of the other things that it was one of the other check boxes that I was able to check off when I looked at this opportunity and went, oh, wow, this is easy. I can do this around taking care of myself, because what I'm doing is just sharing with other, mostly women, mostly busy moms, this beautiful opportunity of replacing products with what you're already buying, replacing them with certified organic, 100% toxic free products that you're already buying. So you're not really spending that much more. And I'm doing that anyways. And that's it, because we succeed as wholesale buyers. So it's not like I need to get to sell this lady and this lady and that lady and this person here. It's, if this is the step you want to take and you want to take it in a way that, touches your soul, and you know that you're going to get support, and we work on mindset. That's the other piece of this, is that I don't need to set, okay, I'm going to do it, from noon to 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's mindset. And if I just think about my business in a positive way, I know that I'm using my mind and I'm growing my business that way too. So that's the other beauty of it. So it really is this freedom lifestyle. And it's not all about getting, quotas, 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 quotas.
Yes, which is horrible.
Right. It's just getting people to hear the message and sharing it in a way that's authentic to me. And so I do that by, talking with you and interviewing with you and sharing this with your audience and going out there and sharing it with other audiences that have the same likes that I do.
And for single moms, I know that, or moms in general, I wanted to really interview you because I want people to open their minds to what's possible out there. And I always try to bring people who will show possibilities. And maybe today somebody is going to resonate with what you're doing, and that's going to be their possibility.
Yes.
Another day they would resonate with somebody else. But it's so important to know that it exists, and it doesn't feel yucky. Like I was with direct sales companies before, and even though I was selling and bringing people, it was never enough to really start getting money back. So you get discouraged and you're not motivated. But when you can marry your sole purpose with your business, then the sky is the limit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the piece that was always interesting to me was, and I think a lot of moms get into direct sales because they're looking to supplement their income. Maybe they're still home or they went back to work, but they're working part-time. And so this is nice. But I really feel that the more interesting piece about getting involved in those businesses is they like what they're buying and they want to get it at a discount. So in direct sales, the only way you can really do that is host a party, invite your friend, or you get into it as a business.
Yeah.
And so with, what I'm doing with Asante is it's already providing me with products that I'm getting anyways.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's safer for my family, and I'm getting a discount, and the investment in it is less than $30, a one-time fee. I mean, it's just so easy. Now, that might not work for everybody, or that might not, like you said, that might not interest everybody, but that's okay.
Yes. Because meanwhile, you're building a community.
Absolutely.
And that's the benefit, like the plus, the cherry on the cake.
Yes.
No, you said it. No, in English, we say the icing on the cake. In French, we say the cherry. So I'm still, my references are from my childhood. And so you talked about self-care a lot, which for me feels in the area of self-love. And I know that a lot of women, when I tell them to be loving to themselves, they don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
So I always ask my guests to give her definition of self-love. What is yours?
Well, for me, it's setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
And I know that seems a little strange because you think self-love, self-worth, how did boundaries sound so, but it was the one thing that I've really learned in the last, year and a half is I need to have healthy boundaries, and healthy boundaries means saying no. Or a perfect example was the other day. I had a bad morning with my daughter. She came home and everything was okay, but I was still a little off, right? We carry that guilt of afterwards, don't we? When we have those disagreements and we don't handle it the way we want to, we still carry a little bit of that guilt. And I did some journaling and, used my tools. I did some tapping. I love that you do EFT. I did a little of that, but still was a little off. And then my mom came to me in panic. Her phone wasn't working. And I thought I needed to go take it to the store. I was starting to get a headache. I hadn't eaten since early in the morning. And I realized, wait a minute, I have to say no to running out the door right now.
Mhm.
I have to take a minute. I need to get something to eat, get some water, take a minute. And it was interesting. When I did that, the problem that she was having was a simple solution. There was a simple solution to it. And I didn't have to run out the door. But I set that healthy boundary and I said, no, I can't just drop everything and do this and fix this for you. I need to fix me first.
And it's boundaries are totally part of self-love, because if you don't know how to say no to others, there are different things that will happen. First, you may become resentful because you feel obligated to do stuff, and that's becoming unconscious. And one day you just explode, you don't know even why. And the second thing is, you don't have time to say yes to yourself if you don't say no to others, because life will grab you. You will have demands everywhere you go. So unless you say, like you said, a boundary and say no, whether it is to a person or it is to even yourself, sometimes when you have to go for a walk or go to the gym and you're going to say, oh no, I'm going to sit and watch TV. Sometimes you have to put boundaries with yourself. You can say, okay, go walk, and then you'll watch a little bit of TV later. Or with food. Boundaries are the foundations to a healthy life, to quality relationships. That's something I coach on a lot too. I want to come back to my comment about the cherry on the cake or the icing. I I know Jessie, and I know there is a way to, oh yeah, Jessie is in love with strawberries. So it just said cherry, humph. I think that's how you pronounce that. Strawberry roll. So that was just funny. And that's what you can get when you come here on Facebook and you comment. You may end up with your comment on the screen, because it's really fun to interact with the audience. So to go back to your life and your company, if people want to learn about it without even doing anything yet, because I know sometimes people are not comfortable with even inquiring about something because they are afraid of the pressure. And I know you don't put pressure on people. So that's why I want them to feel comfortable to reach out to you and maybe connect with you. Where can they connect? I know you have your Facebook page. It's My Organic Soul, right?
That's correct. So yes, anyone who is, feeling a passion for this organic lifestyle, they can hop right over to My Organic Soul Facebook page and go to my Asante link. Or if they want to, just be part of the community, they can be a part of the community there. You don't need to be a partner in the business. This is all about building the community as well. And if they would like, I don't have any free offers. I wish I had something ready for you all now, but I have a website where they can subscribe to my email, and I send out a newsletter once a month. And there's also a link there, the Go Green Get Paid link, and that's where they could look at the Asante and they could look at what it is and what's it all about, what the investment is, what the products are. So that website is My Organic Solutions, SOULUTION, and I see you have that up there.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Yep.
You're welcome. And because I know they have, like you mentioned, they have probiotics. Yes. And that's something that more and more people are buying, because especially because of the problems with the gut. And they have many other things. They have essential oils and all kinds of products.
Home, yep, from your laundry to your bathroom to your personal care to your health. And we actually have a 5-day and a 28-day evolution package for those people that, if this, this gut health, at this, healthy lifestyle, this, we focus on alkalizing our bodies. If that interests anyone and how to detox, we have a couple programs, the 5-day evolution and a 28-day evolution, that they can look into as well. And yes, so it's the food enzymes is a big one that I learned about. Not only we hear a lot about the probiotics, but these food enzymes are really important, because we're realizing that I've just learned that after the age of 30 we start to lose those food enzymes and our body doesn't make anymore, and so we have harder time digesting the food we have without those food enzymes. So we need to supplement with a food enzyme to help us. And the interesting thing is, even our teens need these enzymes, because as their bodies are growing, they're using them all up. And it was interesting to hear about that as well.
I didn't think about that, but I was going to say that I always sneak on my kids some essential oils and some probiotics, because it's not as painful as my kids eat a lot of veggies, because as you know, I'm French and we grew up with, I raised them with a lot of vegetables, but they got to a point when they became teenagers to tell me that, oh, I don't like that anymore, or I don't like that anymore. And for me, it's really important to know that it's not going to be such a conflict and a battle to tell them, here, take a pill and go have some pasta, and that's going to be okay for today. And I feel better knowing that I can supplement, like you were saying, to help them with their health. So that's a good way also to have your teens cooperate more with you.
Absolutely.
Before we go, is there something you would like to leave the audience with? An advice?
I would just say, really take the time to tune in and, listen to your soul, follow those inspired nudges that come up. That's your soul calling to you. And I know that busy moms and single moms, we want to say, but I just can't. I just don't have the time. But if you can just take those few minutes before jumping out of bed, really just take a few minutes and say, okay, breathe a few minutes for few rounds, 3 breaths, 3 rounds of that deep breathing, get everything, ready and cleansed, and bring in that clean air, get that stagnant air out of our body. I guess I'm going a little, on that energy path, but
no, but that's important, because we're made of energy.
absolutely. And so your kids are going to feel that. If you can prepare yourself in the morning, even taking 5 minutes to get that stagnant air, out of your system, and just say, I've got this. I can do this. It'll all be okay. And, your kids are going to feel that in you. They're going to feel that shift in you. And that just might be what makes or breaks that morning for you, right?
That will for sure lower your level of stress, because sometimes moms who are really, really busy, they wake up with the to-do list in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst thing you can do. So when you take time to take a few breaths, which is, by the way, life force energy entering your body,
Mm-hmm.
you will lower your stress level. You will open more to your soul and the universe, because I always tell my moms, my single moms, we can co-create, we can co-parent with the universe. Even though you're alone as a single mom, you're not alone. I see in myself and in the life of some of my former clients, where they take the time to cultivate that relationship with their soul, with the universe, with the divine, When you ask a question, this is a promise that I know the universe will deliver, because I see it in my life every time I ask for a solution. You ask, please help me. I can't do it alone. I promise you. Usually with me, it takes a day or two. Either I get a phone call, I come across an article, I come across the solution. You keep your mind open. Don't be stuck on the way you want it to be.
Yes.
And ask and bring that breath, and you'll see the stress level will go down and you'll get helped.
Absolutely. We don't need to know how it will be. We just have to trust that it will be.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kristin, because I resonate very much with what you're sharing and what you believe. And I think that more moms need to receive that message that they are not alone, and that there are ways to make their life better without throwing everything in the trash and go living on an island. It starts with little shifts, and you gave us a few today. And for the people who want to know more about you, they can go on your website or your Facebook page and learn more and take part into the community that you created for your busy moms.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to share more with those women, those moms that are resonating with this. And I appreciate and I thank you so much for taking the time to let me share my story and to share what I have learned. And
my pleasure. And for our audience, if you're listening on iTunes, you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, please go and rate and review us. I really want to expand this podcast, even though I'm celebrating today being, like I said, selected in the top 10 single mom podcast. And by the way, Caroline, thank you so much for your congratulations. I want to expand it because I do not want any single mom struggling alone. There is no reason for that. There is support, there is community. It is just a click away or a podcast episode away. So I really hope that you help us share that podcast and make it more visible. Until I see you again next week, have a wonderful, stress-free week and go and take those breaths. It's really easy to do and it's a candy for your body. See you next time. Bye.